Hey guys, welcome to Home Studio Rescue here on YouTube. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to be talking about whether or not I can replace my loud tube amp with amp modeler pedals. I got 3 pedals sent to me by Zzounds, the Universal Audio Dream 65, the Ruby, and the Boss IR2. I've been playing with these pedals now for about 3 months in a live setting for my band Lovesick Loner Car, and I've also had the opportunity to mix a couple of bands at venues I work at who've had basically a dream pedal before. So I recorded some samples, and I'm just going to talk about the setup and how I've been using them and how they compare to my actual Fender Hot Rod Deluxe. So let's jump into Pro Tools. All right, so here we are in Pro Tools. I've recorded the same parts with each different amp or the amp modeler. I've done a clean part. I've done a part on my middle pickup of my Telecaster with an OCD and a plumes pedal. And then I've done the bridge pickup. And so we're just going to kind of compare and contrast. I'm going to reveal at the end which one is which between the Hot Rod Deluxe, the Ruby, the Dream pedal, and then the IR2. Leave your guess down in the description down below. So this is option 1 on clean. There's just a little bit of breakup in there. So this is just straight into the amp or pedal. So that's option 1. Here is option 2. Also, I do have my Avalanche Run reverb as I would run in my band Lovesick Loner Car for clean. This is option 2. Kind of a nice sparkly clean. And then here is option 3. A little bit of breakup. And then here's option 4. Everything I want to say might reveal what amp it is, so I'm not going to do that. But I like the sparkle out of that one. And so now we're going into the distortion. So this is pedals going into these amp modelers and whatnot. So I have an OCD and a plumes on. So pretty crunchy. Whatever reverb that's happening, that is coming through the amp. Here's option 2. All right, we'll go to 3. A little bit more crunch. That's coming from the amp. And here's number 4. Now that amp room is coming from that source. It's not from my guitar pedals. All right, and then now we're going to go on to the bridge pickup, and let's start with number 4 this time. We'll go in reverse. All right, whatever room or amp or reverb sound is coming out, that is through the amp. Or whatever it is, that's what it's through. It has that's not off my pedal board. Here's number 3. It's a nice tight crunch. And then we're going to go to number 2. And I do see that these aren't quite level match, so forgive me for that. All right, that's number 2. Here is number 1. All right, and so this is the point in the video where I would go down below, and I'm going to put up the pictures of the different options. We have the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, which is my tube amp. We have the Universal Audio Dream pedal, the Ruby, and the Boss IR2. Just put which number you think is which. Yeah, just guess down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. Now we're gonna reveal the actual amps. What is what? So okay, here we go. Number one was the Hot Rod Deluxe. We can kind of go through and listen to these a little bit again. Now the reason, what I've been looking for is something that's going to give me a clean and a nice pedal platform. So that's probably something I should have said at the intro of this video. I need something that's clean. My amp off the bat breaks up a lot. So here is the Hot Rod Deluxe. It clean. You can hear it. There's that breakup. I want something a little something a little bit cleaner. Something that's not. Unfortunately, the amp just it sounds good at the edge of breakup. Now I'm not a guitar expert. I'm not trying to be any of that. You know, I'm a studio guy. I'm a songwriter. I'm a live sound man. So I do have some experience with these different pedals. But here's my pedals going into my actual tube amp. Here's the bridge pickup. Obviously, it's quieter. So that's the sound I know and love. My only complaint about the amp is just the clean. And so here is the Boss IR2 on clean. And I have actually used this pedal. The song that you're hearing is called Heartbleed. That's going to be coming out here in August. This is actually the clean tone for that song, for the bridge. And I really like the clean. And I've used this pedal at practice. I never used it at a gig, but it was close. It was really close. But so we had a gig come up, and I had to switch back to my amp. And I mean, I didn't have to, but my other guitar player was playing through an amp, and so we switched. And there's nothing like playing with a guitar amp in the room, even if the sound is good or you have ears and you can hear it well and all that stuff. There's just nothing like having the amp in the room. So. Now this is where the amp gets a little digital to me. I'm not really a big fan of this. I mean, I could live with it in a live band practice setting, but I wouldn't use that to record. Here's the bridge. It's just sounding very digital to me. So I'm not as big of a fan. Once you start stacking pedals, I like the clean tone of the IR2, but once you start stacking heavy pedals into it, it kind of falls apart a little bit. Now here's the Dream pedal, which I thought this would be the one that I wanted to buy afterwards. And yeah, it just still breaks up a little bit too much. You can control on this pedal, the volume does control pretty much the gain. And then the other thing is I have the lead boost on, and when you do that on the regular setting, you can kind of add mids. It's not like a boost at that point. And I don't know, there was something about this pedal. Really, if you want it clean, you need the volume all the way down, and then you just kind of adjust the output. I also have preamp gain, but really with these pedals, I didn't have to add a lot of preamp gain. They're pretty loud, but the clean, it's nice, but it's still breaking up, and I don't know. I wasn't as impressed with the clean on the Dream pedal. And then as we go into heavier settings with distortion, I'm not a big fan compared to my amp. It's a warmer, kind of a fatter tone. Sorry for not level matching this crap. But then here, let's go into really my bridge pickup with the Dream. I don't hate that, but it's pretty crunchy. It's pretty, I just feel a digitalness between the Boss and the Dream pedal. I'm not a big fan of. And then the Ruby pedals surprised me because when I got these pedals 3 months ago, I took the Ruby out, played with it, and I'm like, that's cool. It does a Vox thing. There's a lot of knobs on this pedal and a lot of different, I mean, it's the same amount of knobs as the other one, but there's a room sound. I mean, when I first got this pedal, I kind of did a little bit of research, but just going through it and trying to come up with something I dug. Today, I did that more than I did 3 months ago, but there's just something about this pedal that it's cool for what it is. Like, I could use this to record some stuff. The other thing that isn't being shown with this Boss pedal is in this video is just how many different settings, amp settings there are, and it's versatile. I've just been using it for clean, but it has a pretty legit Fender Twin sound. The Tweed, I can't speak to that, but then Diamond and Crunch and Brit, I feel like this pedal has some of this going on. The other thing with the Ruby is that it has an amp room, like it has a room sound in a lot, and you're going to hear that. So let's listen to the Ruby here clean. Whatever reverb you're hearing is the amp sound on this pedal. Now I thought this was a really nice clean. I mean, I'm tempted to go and record this in the actual song. I really like this clean, and it's one of those things, if it was $100 pedal, I'd probably buy this one. This one's the closest one. This is the one I'm closest to buying, because I do enjoy having this on my pedal board and not having to lug an amp around for practice, but there is nothing like playing out of an amp, not at this point. But this one I would buy just because, like, that sparkly clean tone, I can use that in recording every day. That's really cool. So here's the gritty tone. You hear the amp room? If you guys know how to turn that off, tell me. I'm not a big fan of it. So that's just in the middle pickup, the Plumes pedal, and the OCD. Here's bridge pickup. So yeah. If I could figure out how to turn off that amp room sound, that wouldn't be too bad. But so to sum it up, these pedals, the Boss IR is really cool, but it gets a little too, all of them get a little too digital. The other thing, the Dream, I think, is kind of closest to my amp. Here's the Dream. Here's my amp. There's things I like. If I could Frankenstein all of these things into one, I would do it. The Dream comes closest to my guitar amp. But even that, it just sounds digital to me. Here's my amp. And the more gain I stack on this stuff, the more it kind of falls apart. There's my amp. Here's the Boss. That's not terrible. It's a little too heavy. That just sounds thin to me. I mean, it's not bad, but I just hear the digitalness. I don't like that at all. So there you have it for this video. If you got any value out of this video, there's going to be affiliate links to buy any of these pedals on Zzounds. Thank you to Zzounds so much for sending me this stuff. I'm going to be working with them a lot more. This is really my first video back in a while. I'm going to be making videos. I have one coming up on, they sent me a bunch of 2 microphones. I'm very excited to make that video. And also I'm going to be doing something called Beat My Mix, where with the songs I'm releasing for my band Lovesick Loner Car and any other bands that I'm working with, which I do that, I'll be putting up the tracks that you guys can try to compete against my mix. I've really taken a break from YouTube for a long time just to focus on my band and my music career as far as a sound man, and I've been working 3 to 4 days a week as a sound man. And really that's what inspired this video, because I've mixed 2 guys who came in with a Dream 65 pedal as their amp in a live venue with drummers and all that stuff, and I was really kind of blown away with how well it sounded great. I didn't really even, it was like, is that a pedal? And it is. I didn't have the same results with that, but I do know that that pedal really works. There's a lot of touring musicians out there who are using that Dream 65 pedal, or at least that I've run across, who they make it work and it sounds great. So if you got any value out of this video, please hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Again, I'm not Rhett Scholl or Rick Beato. I'm not like a guitar dude. I'm not here to be like, I know all this crap. This is just how I'm using this stuff in the real world. I use it to write music, record music, and play music in my band. So I don't know if I can say music any more times. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.